Let me tell you something! Let me tell you something! Wait.
Hello guys and welcome. Today we're gonna be going through the level 7 tier list. We're no longer in the early game. It's officially mid-game. So let's look at our classes. First of all, the graph. The left is level 6 and the right is level 7. So the biggest swing is Paladin, really. It really got a major buff now. It has its Aura of Hate, Aura of Warding. Guys, Aura of Warding. Crazy good ability. The rest pretty much didn't move a lot. So, let's start with our Paladin today. We're not starting with Barbarians. Why should we? They've been getting preferential treatment for a long time, but they haven't been S since level 3, I think. Not even on level 3. Ugh, disgusting. Okay, so Paladins at level 7. Now, remember when we were talking about the Aura of Protection? Now you can also get Aura of Warding if you are Oath of the Ancients. This means that you effectively have resistance to magical damage. And not just you, also your entire party. But they also get your Charisma modifier added to their saves. So you can effectively reduce the damage they would take from a spell to a quarter of it. This is amazing. And you can do your smites. Remember, that's just a passive feature. You don't have to use an ability for it. And you can do 3 smites in one turn because you can use Pummel as a bonus action and get that extra attack in. So 3 smites, lots of burst, very good defense options for your party. Heavy armor. Radiant damage, which is really important in Act 2. I just don't see Paladins as being bad. Even a pure Paladin is going to be great at this point in the game. So let's move up to the other S's. No, actually, let's move up and then we'll go down. So, Sorcerers. Why are Sorcerers good at level 7? Well, because Sorcerers are incredibly good again. Now, they do get level 4 spells, which, admittedly, they're not the strongest spells in the game. Wall of Fire is good. Ice Storm is good. But again, not the strongest of spells. Very good for controlling the battlefield, but damage-wise, not too great. However, what they can do at level 4 is Twin Haste, throw a Fireball, and then bonus action, another Fireball, and that's good enough. It's more than good enough. It's great. It's possibly the strongest damage you can do. And when you twin someone, maybe, I don't know, your Bard, they can make up to 9 attacks in that turn. If it's a swords Bard. So let's look at Bards. Bards got their extra attack on level 6. Swords Bards. And now they can do Slashing Flurries twice for each attack. That means 4 attacks, right? And bonus action, another attack with their hand crossbow. Very good. Have attacks on each turn, which resets, well, they do have a limited amount of Bardic Inspiration, but you get them back on a short rest, so you can do this twice effectively, right? And if you cast Haste on them, they can do 9 attacks in the first turn. And Burst is very good because it can carry the fight. You can take out if you can take out 2 enemies, these are 2 enemies that are not going to be taking actions. So it's permanent CC, so it's very good. Now, you guys mentioned Swords Bards, you guys mentioned Lord Bards in the comments and cutting words. And yes, while that is useful, that is actually not as good as a Sword Bard. So yeah, you can do Hold Person and use cutting words on your enemy to ensure that they are stunned, and that's very good. But again, that requires your party to go in melee and smack it. Yeah, effectively, you're just doubling the damage of another class, so why not just be the other class, right? Yeah, okay. Let's look at the S tiers now. So we have Cleric, Monk, and Wizard, and Druid. So, why is Cleric S? Well, as we said, level 7 is most of the times takes part in Act 2. And Act 2 is greatly vulnerable to radiant damage. So you can use your Channel Divinity as a light cleric and win fights just by doing that. And you can do that twice per short rest. Or you can throw fireballs. Admittedly, Clerics at level 7 get 4th level spells, which are not that great. Like Banishment, it feels a little bit of a scam because usually it has about 50% chance to succeed and you banish the other person for 2 turns. So you lose your turn and half of the time they don't lose a turn and the other half of the time they lose 2 turns. So it's effectively, you're trading your turn for a turn of another class. So that's not great. Your effectively expected number of turns balances, so you're not getting action economy. Now, what is really good is Guardian of Faith for 4th level spells, and that does very good damage, or you can upcast your spiritual weapon. Again, though, you have Spirit Guardians, which does radiant damage. You have the Guardian of Faith, which does radiant damage. You have your Channel Divinity that does radiant damage. And also, you can be a life cleric and just heal your party for a lot and do the combo. Let me just quit again.
Shadowheart, do your thing. Everybody gets rage. You get rage. You get Blade Ward. You get a bless. You get a bless. And you get a bless.
Combo just gives everyone Blade Ward and it gives them bless if you have the right items. And that's just way too strong at this point in the game. Now, monks. Why do monks get S? Monks have their extra attack at this point. They have their aura, the wholeness of body. And of course, I'm talking about open palm monks. Shadow monks are a tier below. And then, as we said, don't go Monk of the Elements, guys. It's really not worth it. Evasion is good. The Stillness of Mind is good. You still do a lot of damage. You can beat Tavern Brawler and all your punches do good, significant damage. I don't see a reason why this would be a bad class. You do a lot of attacks consistently. Your attacks also do radiant damage if you are open palm monk, if you choose that sub type of damage. So very good for Act 2. Then we have the Wizard. Now, the Wizard spell list, again, on level 4, you can see Fire Shield, not great. Blight, especially in Act 2, is a horrible spell to have. But what a good spell here is a Wall of Fire and Ice Storm, just like the Sorcerer. So you can still do Fireball, and you can still do Summons. If you're a Necromancer, you can upcast your Animate Dead and summon 4 Skeletons or 4 Zombies, which do very good damage. You can also do Conjure Minor Elementals, because you can use your Arcane Recovery. So you can do that twice. So you can have Minor Elementals and 4 Zombies or 4 Skeletons. So 4 Skeletons are 4 attacks that do 1d6 plus 1d10 Necrotic plus your proficiency plus 2 or 3, which is the dexterity of a skeleton. So you're doing 4 attacks consistently and you're throwing fireballs. So I just can't see this being bad. This is very good. Then up next, we have the Druid. Now, why are Druids good? Well, Druids at this level get the spell right here. Conjure Woodland Being, which summons a Dryad, which can also summon a Woodward. The Woodward is a very good frontliner. The Dryad is a very good CC, and it gives an aura to the party. And you can also polymorph as a Moon Druid to an Owlbear. Well, all of them can, but the Moon Druid does it for a bonus action. Or a Sports Druid would get 4 zombies and a temporary EHP aura. So you have a lot of summons, or you can be very strong and have summons. It's just purely good. And you can be an Owlbear, which has enough HP and enough strength. And keep in mind, if you do take the Tavern Brawler feat as a Druid, your Owlbear attacks are gonna be doing additional damage. And they're gonna be more likely to hit. It's a very good spot to be in as a Druid. So that's the S classes. Let's go to the A ones. No A ones. So let's go, well, actually, Warlocks are A. Okay, so let's go to the Warlocks. Why are Warlocks A? So the only reason why Warlocks are A at this point is because they get their spells, their 4th level spells back on a short rest. And even though there's not a lot of good Warlock spells, they get Blight, which is horrible. They get Dimension Door, which is not ideal. They get Banishment. Banishment, not great. But what they can do is they can do Armor of Agathis and Fireball upcasted, right? Or Wall of Fire. So essentially, the Fiend Warlock gets a bump above everyone else at this point. Avars Blood $20, not that great. 4 spell slots means upcasted fireballs, and you can do that twice per short rest. And that's good enough. Like, you're doing enough damage, and you have more high levels fireballs than the rest. So it's good. It's not great, in my opinion. Like, the Sorcerer outshines the Warlock by far at this point in the game. So up next we have Barbarians and Fighters. Now, Barbarians at level 7 get a small bonus to initiative. Alright, not amazing. So they're still level B, like they're being outscaled at this point, but they're tanky enough to be still very viable. We also have the Fighters, which they either get another superiority dice and 2 maneuvers. They can get, like, don't go Eldritch Knight, guys. You get level 2 spell slots. What is this? Like, no. War Magic is cool, but it doesn't use extra attack, so it's just bad because you're using an action to cast a bad spell so that you can do a bonus action attack. No. Don't. Champion is alright, but the buffs it gets is like a level 1 spell, jump, right? And they also get proficiencies, so they also get guidance. Like half guidance on some spells, on some abilities, right? Constitution checks, dexterity checks, and strength checks. You could say proficiency in dexterity is also an initiative booster. I'm not 100% certain. Again, very minor buffs. Very minor buffs. I wouldn't consider them strong at this point. So they're both B. And then we have the C classes. Now, I know you guys don't like it when I diss on the Ranger.
Let me tell you something! Wait.
What I will say, Hunters get a good buff here. Especially this one, the multi-attack defense. It can effectively really be useful if you're wearing good armor. And if you're wearing maybe the Cloak of Displacement or of Protection and you're buffing your armor a lot, you can be a very good tank. However, you have to get hit once. So why is this better than Rage? It's not. So you're worse than a Barbarian. And you're not doing as much damage as a Barbarian. So why not just be a Barbarian? Now, if you go for the Beastmaster, your beasts get a minor buff. Now, they can dash, disengage, and help. Help is good because it can help with the action economy, but they die so easily, your summons, that is not really useful. Now, you can use the spider and spam web on the enemy and use help on your allies, and that could be viable, but it would require you to play specifically around that. It just doesn't feel good. So Fighters might be getting a smaller buff right now than what you are getting as a Ranger, but they were already much better than you to begin with. Also Barbarians. Now Rogues also get evasion, but you know what other class gets evasion? Monks. And they also get Stillness of Mind, and they can do 6 attacks in 1 turn, while you can do 3 attacks, right? And one of them has a 4d6 sneak die. So 4d6 sneak die versus 3 attacks that are Tavern Brawled, and a reaction extra attack, and even better buffs at this level. It's just, you're getting outshined. You're getting outshined big time. What I will say about the Rogues is that they are very useful outside of combat, and we have to give it to them. They have expertise, they can steal stuff, but I'm mostly focusing on combat here. And you can cheese a lot of things with the Rogue. And again, if you go the scroll route, so you steal scrolls and you just use them during combat with your action and 2 bonus action attacks, and then effectively you can be very good. You can be S tier, right? Because you can summon elementals at this point, steal a summon elemental spell, and then do 2 extra attacks. And then next turn do an Ice Storm and 2 extra attacks. That's good, but that requires consumables. And that's sort of not looking at the class on its own. Okay, yeah, so this is the tier list. Now, let's just look at it purely as it is by itself. Now, I do link the spreadsheet in the description, guys. So here are the classes. Sorcerer, Paladin, and Bard are the best. Monk, Cleric, Wizard, Druid, tier 2, and then the rest are actually quite a lot worse. Now, let's look at the multi-class options. I'm not going to go through the A ones, but I will go through some cool combinations and my favorite combinations. So as you know, Storm Sorcerer, I'm a sim for Storm Sorcerers. I'm always going to have them as S++ from this point onward. They have very good damage. It scales very well. You have versatility, you have Cleric spells, you have Wizard spells, you have Sorcerer meta magic. It's just way too strong, but it's a little bit more bursty. But keep in mind, it's a charisma class, guys, and charisma classes are very good for main characters. Now, and constitution saving throws, so you can always maintain your concentration, right? So it's better than the Sorcerer. It's one of the few classes that are better than the Sorcerer. Now, other S+ classes is the Fighter Paladin. Now, we know that Paladins are good because they have a lot of burst. Now, give them 2 levels in Fighter, and now they can do 5 attacks in the first turn, which will all have smites because they have enough smite slots now. So their burst is going to be very significant, and then you're going to be able to carry the fight. Yes, you will run out of resources very fast, but your enemy will run out of HP very fast as well. So then one of my favorite ones, this one I actually played with, is the Warlock Paladin. You go 5 levels in Warlock and 2 levels in Paladin, and you get level 3 spell slots and smites from the Paladin. So you can effectively do 2 big smites every turn consistently per short, well, not consistently, but per short rest. And on subsequent turns, you can do the Paladin smites. So this is a very consistent build that does a lot of damage in every fight, so you don't have to long rest as much, so it's a little bit more convenient. Then we also have the Barbarian Monk. This is good because the rage of the Barbarian works very well with monks, especially with the amount of attacks they do. It gives additional damage, it makes the monk tankier, it makes the monk being able to carry a shield, so their armor class increases even further, medium armor proficiency, and at this point you can get the Yuan-Ti armor, which adds 14 plus your dex modifier. You can also put on the gloves of dexterity, maximize your strength, or drink a Hill Giant strength potion, and your attacks are going to be healing like a truck, and you're going to be tanky as a truck, and you're going to be very good at saves for AoE effects. So very, very good at this point. Now, you also have the Wizard Cleric, and if Cleric is S, Wizard Cleric is S+. Because now you have access to level 4 wizard spells or level 3 wizard spells. So you can be a life cleric and still have fireball at this point. You only need the headband of intellect. And you can do incredible healing, incredible damage. You can have summons. It's just better. If cleric is S, wizard is S+. Then you have the wizard sorcerer, again is S+, because you have more options. This will give you more options in spells. But it requires you to be a bit mad. It also works very well though. So it's pretty much very similar to the pure sorcerer. It's just 1 level of wizard. Now 1 level of wizard with bard. Now you can consistently cast haste on yourself and do those nice 9 attacks, right? Perfect. You can actually do real spells like fireball. And you don't have to focus on the bad bard spells, which I know you guys might not like when I diss on the bard spells. Let's look at them. Confusion, okay, AoE, but to be honest, I've never used this in the campaign, so maybe this one is okay. But it requires all your enemies to be together, and you know what happens when your enemies are close together? You can fireball them, and they die. And when they are dead, it's better than when they are confused, right? Unless they attack their enemies, I guess. But it's a good spell, okay. In all seriousness, it's a good spell, but it's the only good spell. Let's look at this. Dimension Door. No combat effectiveness. It's good for exploration though. Freedom of movement. Yeah, so you're going to be having to use your best spell slots so that one of your allies who is not going to be targeted if he has freedom of movement can have freedom of movement. Sure. Greater invisibility. Big whiff because it actually goes away when you attack. For some reason, they didn't actually implement it like regular invisibility in Baldur's Gate. And Polymorph, which doesn't work like Polymorph does in 5e, so it's a bad Polymorph, and a bad Polymorph. Whilst the Wizards, Wall of Fire and Ice Storm. Thanks for subscribing, Kenshin Lag. So Ice Storm, one of the best spells of level 4. It can actually make your enemies fall prone while trying to run at you. And the mechanic when they fall prone is that they lose their turn, which is crazy good. Like, falling prone in this game is probably one of the strongest crowd controls you can do, and they consistently fall for it. And they take damage. It only lasts 2 turns, but it's more than you need. It's very useful, and it effectively, if you think about the action economy of this, you use 1 action and your enemy team loses about 2 to 4 actions per turn. Very good. Wall of Fire, very good, very consistent damage. You can push enemies back in. There's some fights that it's really useful in. So wizard spells greater than bard spells. And you can also get the level 3 ones, which is Fireball, crazy good. Haste, the strongest buff, really. Lightning Bolt, again, if you are playing if you can throw water at the enemy or make them wet, this can carry fights. Hypnotic Pattern, I mean, they both get it, let's be honest. Hanger of Hadar, again, an amazing spell. So, Animate Dead, I mean, it doesn't compare. It just doesn't compare. Like, this will make even your Lord Bard good, because you can effectively force the saving throws on your enemies to fail. Then we have the S tier classes, which is Paladin Cleric. Again, you get the extra bonus action attack. You miss out on the Aura of Guarding though, so it's a little bit worse than a pure Paladin, in my humble opinion. Been anything but humble. But I've also added here a cool one, which is the Sorcerer Fighter. Why is this good? Because you can action surge. It's 2 levels of Fighter and 5 levels of Sorcerer. You can do Fireball, action surge, another Fireball, and then with your bonus action, if you have prepared an extra 3rd level spell slot with your sorcery points before battle, then you can do Quicken, another Fireball. So it's 3 Fireballs. And what did we say? 2 Fireballs is better than 1 Fireball. Well, 3 Fireballs is better than 2 Fireballs. So this is good, but it's like a one-off effect, and then you run out of spell slots. So it is better as the game progresses. It gets better. And also the Rogue Monk is good, because you can go 1 level in Rogue and get the expertise and the skills, while also being a monk, which is better than a rogue. So again, also very good. So that's my tier list, guys. Again, thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Subscribe if you enjoy the content. I will be transitioning to Starfield over the next week, but I have pre-recorded some videos about Baldur's Gate, and I will be uploading those. And yeah, I'm not gonna forget about Baldur's Gate, and I will definitely return after I finish with Starfield to Baldur's Gate, because it was such an amazing game. Expect my review coming up soon. Yeah, see you around, guys.